So in 2014, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And I mean, it's kind of, I'm sorry, I blew into the mic.
It's okay, we have a win.
I feel like I was just a nerd that played video games in his room all day. So when you get that diagnosis, it's like, oh, well, I'm still me. I'm still this person, but my life is a little bit more difficult right now. It doesn't really hit you that you're like your life is at stake. You know,
You still continue gaming.
yeah, I just wanna keep playing games. I just wanna live my life, you know. That's all I really want to do. I remember getting the diagnosis at the doctor, or not the diagnosis, but just like I had like a bump in my neck or something. So I went there and it was like, oh, yeah, we should get you tested. So I was there with my mom, and then they give you like this paper for tests. Like when you go for a blood test, they like check certain things on the paper where you need to be checked on, like where the doctor needs to look for the values in your blood. And my mom was panicking because she was like, shit, you're getting checked for cancer and all of these things. So for me, it was like, oh, this is probably bad, you know, and then it turned out it was pretty bad. But in a way, and this is really weird to say, but it was like a reality check afterwards. In the moment, not really, but as you get sick, as your life changes, you realize like this is the moment that makes me from like a boy into a man almost, I guess, just to put it simply, I guess, like surface level. But that's when I realized like my life wasn't really much of anything. It was like a husk, you know, like me playing video games, going to school, doing the things I have to do, but there wasn't anything in me, like not really a person. And then as you move out, as you have to fight for yourself, you have to fight for your life.
Welcome at the podcast. I am Marco. Who are you? Today we're with Snnuy, Robin, also known for playing Legends of Runeterra and giving amazing commentary, of course.
Thank you.
Great to have you here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I remember we were living in this small village in the Netherlands called Herwijnen. And one day there was this tournament. I was living in another city back then already, I think, in Gorinchem. And then you invited me to this tournament where we played Mario Kart. And I beat this Luigi and I was talking shit about him. And then he was standing beside me saying, hey, I was that Luigi in the tournament. And what was your reaction?
I mean, I saw him standing behind you, so I tried to stop you, but he was okay with it. He seemed fine. He was laughing about it.
He was a tall guy, I remember.
He was tall. He was taller than us.
Yeah. But together we're stronger.
Together we were stronger, especially in Mario Kart because he lost because he was bad.
Yeah. So I want to give back to your community. I saw you also had a new YouTube channel, and then I saw this comment. Hey, I remember this voice is coming from somewhere at these new videos that you were making.
Yeah, it's like you take a lot of fans from your old channel to your new channel. So it's a new journey, but it's also nice to just have some of your old fans that are there for you and not necessarily for the game you're playing.
True. And how would you introduce yourself to people who've never met you?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I go by Snnuy, and I mostly just upload videos on YouTube and I stream on Twitch, and it's mostly card games. So I play cards, the funny cards.
That nobody else will.
Exactly. I play the cards that nobody else wants to play.
Yeah. I remember you were in one of your last years of studying in the Netherlands, but then you also started your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So the game I play came out in 2020, and I graduated at the end of 2021, I believe. And I get my times mixed up sometimes because it's all the same game. Yeah. But in 2020, I started making content on YouTube. I started streaming a little bit, and it was like twice per week. Then I graduated in 2021, around like the summer. And just a little before that summer, things started going really well on YouTube. Because, you know, so YouTube is just like that sometimes. The algorithm decides to pick up your videos. Then as it picks up one video, sometimes it picks up the next one. And there was a lot of growth. So I still wanted to graduate because I still had like a couple of months left. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to do both YouTube and my education at that point. And then I told myself, yeah, this is going well now. I'm not going to find a job immediately after I graduated. I'm going to see until the end of the year if it's like sustainable for me to keep making videos and keep streaming. And it was. So I just kept doing it. And my diploma is collecting dust right now.
It was so funny to me. Like Robin and I know each other for when Wind Waker came out.
Before that, even, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was around the time Wind Waker came out, yeah.
Yeah, and I was stuck on Windfall Island, and then you helped me get off the island.
Yeah, I remember it very well. Because I was just, like, we lived in the same town, so I was roller skating around or something, and you were standing there, and then we knew each other kind of, so we started talking, and then we talked about Wind Waker, that you were stuck on Windfall Island, and then eventually I came inside at your house, and it turned out you could only go to Windfall Island. No, you were stuck at Windfall. You needed to go to Dragon Roost, but it was nighttime, and you can only do it if it's daytime.
Yeah.
So I just had to like sail around for a couple of minutes. It got daytime, and then you were able to continue the game.
And since then, it was love and friendship at first sight for me.
True, same for me. Yeah.
Amazing. So I want to go back at the funny moment of you being in the last year of your studies and starting your YouTube channel. And also, yeah, making the videos and being in between, like, which way is it going to go for me? Like, will I have a full-time job? I remember you were going to this internship, like, before that, you know, so would it be that career path or, like, the career path of a YouTuber? And what was your own reaction after doing your last year of studies and then seeing your YouTube channel grow? What went on in your mind?
I mean, it's pretty interesting because you kind of do like your entire education expecting to have to find a job once you're graduated. So you're kind of working towards that moment almost where you're able to like enter, you know, real life, I guess, and work at a company and have a job and have a 9 to 5. But I kind of had like, you know, that was a thing that I was accepting because that's reality. And at some point you're going to move out and make money. It's just expected of you. But on the other hand, in the last few months before I graduated, I got a taste of what it's like to run like a semi-successful YouTube channel. It wasn't big or anything. It was like, at that time, I think I reached like 25K subs and my videos were getting like, I want to say like between 10 and 20K views each, which is not like, you know, big time. But if you're just starting out, it's pretty acceptable. So I kind of just like rode off of that or like went along that road. I don't know if there's a saying for that exactly, but I just followed what my heart said. I kept making content. I just kept showing up. I think that's really the most important thing when you're making content. Have fun with it and just always be around. Be the person that people know where it's like, even if you're watching another content creator, if they're not around one day, this guy will be. So I just tried to be that guy. And I've just been doing that for years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's like an amazing hero's journey, like to becoming a YouTuber, in this case the hero, and also inspiring people like you that are watching his content. But there was a time when it was not so bright in your life. I don't know which part you want to share about it, but you and I know what has been, because it's pretty impressive from being in this situation now, like over 100, almost 120 subs.
Yeah, I have
120,000 subs.
yeah, 120K subs almost. So, I mean, yeah, about like my life in general, there's just like I don't want to say like rock bottom, but close to rock bottom, where there's like everything that can go wrong in your life goes wrong and you don't really know what to do with it anymore. You know, there's like this moment where that happens, right? And you're just like, okay, now I hit rock bottom. This was the moment. And then there's a fallout after that. There's like a couple of years, months, in my case, years, where you're just like, I don't really know what to do with my life. So you have a school, you go to school, you have friends, you hang out with them, and that's some relief. Like, okay, this is a moment where I can actually be myself for a bit.
Yeah.
But the rest of that is just like going through the motions, going through school, doing your exams, you know, homework and whatnot. And ultimately, like, that didn't last because it was just like, it wasn't motivating. It was just depressing. And in those years, I kind of realized I need to get myself together. And then eventually, there was just a moment where I'm like, yeah, you know, like if there was a moment I hit rock bottom, there was also a moment where I decided I need to climb out of that. And that was later. That's when I said, okay, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to actually do something I enjoy at school. I did like IT programming back then and I hated it. And then I realized I like IT, but not the programming. So I decided to do IT like consultancy, which basically is like finding solutions for people. And I really enjoyed that. So I lived on like the other side of the Netherlands. I decided I want to go back home. I want to live with my mom again for a little bit so she can also, you know, like be of some support towards me. And I love my mom, of course. So
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Anastasia, she's here right now speaking with Elnaz. She was like, oh, I want to meet Betty. And I'm like, I'm his mom. I'm like, I'm not sure if she's here. But also in my stories about our friendship and his mother, she's also like a famous person to Anastasia. So so I recall, like, in general, three main themes about your life. There were like three separate rock bottoms, like maybe a little bit family situation, becoming sick for a while, and then also being like so far away from home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking about being far away from home, you told a little bit about the rug you get in. And what do you want to share about having to fight for health?
Yeah, so in 2014, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And I mean, it's kind of. I'm sorry, I blew into the mic.
It's okay if you have a win.
Oh, nice, thank you. Yeah, it's perfect for me. It's kind of weird because I feel like I was just a nerd that played video games, in his room all day. So when you get that diagnosis, it's like, oh, well, I'm still me. I'm still this person, but my life is just a little bit more difficult right now. It doesn't really hit you that you're like your life is at stake.
You still continue gaming.
Yeah, I just wanna keep playing games. I just wanna live my life. That's all I really want to do. So it's like really weird to get like. I remember getting the diagnosis at the doctor, or not the diagnosis, but just like I had like a bump in my neck or something. So I went there, and it was like, oh, yeah, we should get you tested. So I was there with my mom, and then they give you like this paper for tests. Like when you go for a blood test, they like they think they check certain things on the paper where you need to be checked on, like where the doctor needs to look for the values in your blood. And my mom was panicking because she was like, shit, you're getting checked for cancer and all of these things. So for me, it was like, oh, this is probably bad, and then it turned out it was pretty bad. But in a way, and this is really weird to say, but it was like a reality check afterwards. In the moment, not really, but as you get sick, as your life changes, you realize like this is the moment that makes me from like a boy into a man almost. I guess just to put it simply, I guess like surface level. But that's when I realized like my life wasn't really much of anything. It was like a husk, like me playing video games, going to school, doing the things I have to do. But there wasn't anything in me, like not really a person. And then as you move out, as you have to fight for yourself, you have to fight for your life. You kind of realize like there's more than just that, and I can show that I'm like the only thing that really matters is my own happiness, really, and the happiness of the people I care about, obviously. But it's like once you start realizing, then that is really the only thing that matters. Then your life got a lot of meaning, and that didn't happen instantly. But I feel like that's also like a turning point where it's like, yeah, this is real. This is something you have to deal with. And so I did, and eventually it just turned me to like an actual person, I would almost say.
Yeah, I would like to ask like the difference between the first Robin person and the second Robin person later on. But right now I want to say like I know you as a guy that like not just for me like in our friendship like
You know
very
both
good
faces.
yeah, I know both faces, but we also had a very good time. So one of the faces is maybe like the person that does a lot of things for other people, right? And cares about the well-being of others, which is also part of relationships you have nowadays. But like, if you're not on the first place, then you know, if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you take care of the other?
Exactly.
So that's like a strong duo right now,
Yeah.
I believe. So what was Robin before he, like you were gaming before, right? And also now, but it was never for no reason, it seems. But how do you describe the gamer Robin before you fought for your life?
If it had to be one word, like just 2 words, I guess, without purpose. So it's like you're doing these things, but they're ultimately meaningless. Like I was good at games, but very often it wasn't good enough to go professional. So that still leaves you with a choice. Like, okay, I can spend more time gaming and getting better, but I also have to go to school, which is like a more secure path to actually like having something to rely on afterwards. So it's kind of yeah. I think without doing anything without purpose really is like the way to describe it best. Because even now, there isn't much purpose to playing games in general for the most part, except just feeling like it's a hobby and stuff, and that's important. It really is. But if it's all you're doing and it's an addiction and it's like impeding other parts of your life, that's not good. Like it's an addiction basically. And that's not like I don't really believe in that much because I fully believe that games are very healthy as long as they're hobbies. But eventually, like because I played them so much, because I didn't really have anything else going on, eventually I started playing them for content, I guess. And it's weird because you're playing, but then eventually you start uploading YouTube videos. You get better at like presenting them, presenting yourself, streaming, being able to talk, just having conversations and stuff. It's like you're doing something for a reason. And I don't really know what it's like to work at a company that much. I had internships, I had like side jobs, but never like at a high level, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, it's like I was there, but I wasn't really contributing too much of anything. And now we're both like entrepreneurs, so you're like contributing to your own company in a way. So everything just feels like it has more purpose and you're doing it for a reason. And one of those reasons is like just growth in general as a person. And I feel like it really starts showing when you're doing stuff like that for yourself. Like, I want to be happy, I want to be successful, and that's personal growth, right?
That's great. So the new person in combination with
Yeah.
yeah
Hmm.
what you do. So I can hear like a very thin line between
Yeah.
like an unhealthy obsession and like a good passion, like hobby wise, but being able to live of the internet, also how I started.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it's amazing that the internet offers this. I remember we were playing Maple Story, and
Hmm.
like the online world is just something that gives so much opportunities, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, again, I feel like there is that really thin line, like you said, between like addiction and actually doing it for yourself. And the Maple Story, like, I think I was very addicted to that game.
Me
I think we
too.
both were, and that's probably the reason why we don't play anymore. As happy as those memories are, looking back at it, and like as kids going on adventures and just spending time together, it's amazing, and I wouldn't change it for anything. But as you grow older, that's really not a way to sustain a life. So I think for me at least, because this is like my line of work, and even though it feels weird to say and it's probably really hard to relate to, it's like just the fact that before that I was gaming and I wasn't really caring about the people around me or even like my own well-being or like happiness. It's just playing to get through the motions, but you don't feel like a sense of fulfillment. So now that I'm able to like be happy with myself, I know what I want, and the reason that I play games is because I want to, and want to make good content and just be a person that like I guess has that entertainment factor in a way where it's like people want to see it and you can keep
True.
doing it. That's a really good motivator. So while I would never just tell anyone, hey, you should become a content creator right now, you should drop everything and do that. I feel like almost every single content creator just kind of rolls into it. You have your life, you're doing your school, your job, you have your family, your friends, but on the side, you're making those videos, and then eventually they start doing better, and that's when you can commit. And it's really important to find that moment. So it's always like in this line of work, it's always like a switch where it's like where you go to YouTube Analytics and you see like the graph thing. It was like, oh, here there's a spike, here there's a spike. It's important to find those spikes in your life too, and you can really tell that like, hey, this is a turning point, and this is momentum I can work with. And it's like easy on screen, but it can also be easy on life when you reflect on it.
I'm just thinking of like a YouTube title. I don't know if it's for you or someone, like gaming or being a gamer, comma, while having a purpose.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's like that kind of explains it pretty well.
Because the games would give me a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
and they would let me feel the person that's like in control and being the hero while my life was just going on, like with Mario Kart or
Paper
Mario,
Mario?
Paper Mario, but also Mario Party. Like you have these games and they have like a certain time frame. Like you can play 30-minute games, but then it's over.
Yeah.
But with life, you don't know, and especially you didn't know
Yeah.
how many, like in this case, years it would be, right? When would your last day be? You didn't even know. So
Yeah. Yeah, having cancer was basically a boss fight. So.
yeah, yeah. So like one of the thirds. So we have like the first element, which is going far away from home, right? And then
Yeah.
like also having a different life there and meeting a lot of people and having challenges. You also had like the overcoming your obstacle of the disease, becoming a healthy person, and second robbing. So not without purpose, but with purpose. The second Robin, and then there's also the part of like the home situation. I remember your father came. We were gaming, and he came in the morning, like 11 o'clock maybe, which was then for older parents, like it was like late, and he was like what the hell are you doing? Like wake
Yeah.
up, and he. I think I remember that your dad wanted to see you as a football, like a soccer player.
Yeah, yeah, he did. My dad was like a trainer and stuff for soccer teams, so I guess seeing me grow up, he wanted me to do the same thing, but it just never really stuck with me. I guess like I like sports and being competitive, somewhat. I like being competitive especially, but I don't know. Like maybe it's the team environment or something. I can't really put my finger on it, but that's definitely how my dad wanted me to be. But that's not the modern day, right? Like there's sports and there's esports. So already playing video games, it was easy to get interested in esports. Just watching teams compete online on my favorite video games.
I think also my parents didn't know much about the new time coming ahead, right? Like being able to speak to strangers online and then making, like, in some sort of way, an income of it. I remember you and I were playing Maple Story, and your mom said, in reaction to what you said,
Yeah.
which was like, we're earning money while we're leaving the computer on, like we were like using some systems to to hack the game, right, in MapleStory, like way back. And then you would receive mesos, in-game money, and we told your mom like we're getting money from it. She's like, we're not getting any. I'm not seeing any euros coming to our home.
I don't see like a damn dime rolling through the window or the door.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just harder for like parents and people that didn't grow up with that technology to comprehend what's really going on or what the kids are saying. But yeah, they're gonna have to adapt eventually, because even we're gonna have to adapt in a couple of years when there's more new stuff and more technology coming out.
True.
It's just a way of life, I guess. So.
Yeah. What other games have you played?
I'm pretty big on Nintendo, so while I play mostly Riot games now, like Legends of Runeterra, which I upload videos on, I play League of Legends. But back in the day, it would just be like Mario games, Mario Kart, Mario Party, Paper Mario, Mario Odyssey, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, that kind of stuff, you know. I like Pokemon a lot too, but it's like it's all, every big franchise, Zelda from Nintendo, I would just play all the time.
And I remember at one point in our friendship, you started playing World of Warcraft. Why did you do that?
Are you insulting me? Are you? Why are you asking
Just
that?
ask. Just ask. I joined you. I tried to join you, but
Yeah, you did. I mean, we had MapleStory as our MMORPG, which is like equally addicting once it like clicks in your head and you're like, hey, this is the game for me. I feel like MapleStory kind of fell out of favor eventually. Maybe just the changes or like the way the game offered their services, and it was a little bit pay to win maybe. So eventually it's like, hey, there's this World of Warcraft game that's really well known and really big, and people are talking about it. Met die banen.
it's an inside joke. Like when we were at this Mario Kart tournament with the Luigi guy that I kicked ass, like he was like given this trophy and then a speech to give, and he was talking about
the
courses and saying course like in Dutch it's banen, like very polite, nice way. He was like banen because he was from this Dutch village Herwijnen where they say it like that.
Yeah, like a dialect.
Yeah.
Like an accent. But yeah, about World of Warcraft, I think this is also is like the addiction, the gaming addiction thing that a lot of people talk about, where it's like, oh, be dangerous or be careful because it can be dangerous to play that game, and you know it'll consume your life. So you know that had an impact on me, because like maybe I shouldn't try World of Warcraft because maybe I'll get addicted, even though I was already like insanely addicted to MapleStory. So it's not like it would have made much of a difference.
You don't see it.
Yeah. But I kind of went in with an open mindset. I just want like, especially as you like grow older and you know gaming is like a big part of your life and a hobby. It's like even right now I find it important to know what the gaming trends are, what people are talking about, and at least being able to like, especially if you're making video analysis, right? Like I am. I think it's important to have that backlog, that experience of like, hey, I played these games. I have this this knowledge of them, and now I can use them to compare them to other games or see what they do well and what they do poorly. So with World of Warcraft, that was already like kind of the same. Like I played MapleStory, and I want to see, okay, what makes World of Warcraft better or worse in what aspect? And because of that mindset, I played it pretty casually. I didn't get super addicted. I really liked the game, but I feel like it never really stopped me from doing the things that mattered or the things I had to do, I guess. So I kind of just got like enchanted by its world without really diving too
Being
deep.
sucked into it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about a lot of stuff, like we spoke about the gaming part, like World of Warcraft. I want to ask you about what's the current state of Legends of Runeterra? What's your opinion on that?
Man, that's hard to say. The game changed my life, obviously, because it gave me my dream job. I can make videos, I can play games, I could just, you know, take life easy, I guess, because I make my own hours as an entrepreneur. But the game is great. It's easily one of the best games I've ever played. It's the best card game on the market, but their monetization was horrible. We played Yu-Gi-Oh in the past. And what you know from Yu-Gi-Oh is a physical card game because you have the cards in your hand, and Runeterra is a virtual card game because the cards are on the screen. So in a physical card game, you go to the store, you buy a pack, you open it, you get some cards, right? Yeah. Now that part of going to the store and buying the pack is important because that makes the company money and lets them make more content, more cards, more new sets. Same is for Hearthstone and Magic, which are Magic is also physical, but it's also virtual. I don't really know how Magic works online, but point being is that you need to go into those games and you need to buy packs to get cards. You need to spend money to be able to play the content.
Same concept.
Yeah, exactly. But Runeterra wanted to be the most accessible card game on the market, and they are. But the problem is they don't make any money because people don't really have to spend money to buy cards. Instead, you buy skins. Now, you play League of Legends. Skins are a huge part of why that game is very successful. But the thing is, you play your champion, you get like new looking abilities, you get new, like your champion looks different, right, on the loading screen. It looks different in game. It's like there's a whole package you get with a skin, and it's easy to buy it for your favorite champion and then play a game with it, and everybody gets to see it. The thing in a card game is they sold, or in Legends of Runeterra specifically, they sold skins for your champions, but there's not even a guarantee that you draw your champion, right? You could never see that champion in game. It's on your deck cover, it's visible in the loading screen, but it's like really short because it's a card game. It's 1v1. So it's like, why would you ever buy a skin if it's not even a guarantee that the next deck you're going to play is that champion? It's a lot harder to get attached to your champions. Another thing they did is they sold boards and guardians. So like when you're playing, you have like a little guy sitting next to your board, just like your mascot or something. He looks at your cards a little bit. You could buy that. You have like different ones. You have like a pig, a cow, whatever, a minion. And then you also have a board that you play on. So you can have like a Bilgewater board, like one of the regions in Runeterra, the universe. Just like a little bit of flavor, a little bit of pizzazz, But the thing is, you buy that once, and then you never need to buy another one. But how many skins do you have on your favorite champion in League of Legends?
Yeah, like a lot more.
Yeah, like you have 5, right? Like that's for one champion.
Yeah.
I have like a certain amount of characters I really like, and I have like 5 of their best skins for each of them, because every time a new one comes out, I'm like, oh my god, this is for my favorite champion. I have to buy it. So I do. But for Runeterra, it's like you buy a skin not even once, because you're not guaranteed to see the card. But a board and a guardian, like the little mascot things, you buy it once and you're done. So it's really hard for them to make money if you're not using that money to buy packs. You already have everything you need to play with.
I sense they are like we wanted MapleStory to be a true free-to-play game.
Yeah, pretty much.
In a sense, like you eventually need to buy some cards, but that's about it, right? Or
Yeah, Runeterra. Yeah, basically, they want it to be accessible, because there's a lot of inaccessible card games on the market where you want to build a deck. Like you have 40 cards in a deck, so you need to make sure that you have all those cards to actually be able to build that deck. So if you don't buy packs, you can't build that deck. In Runeterra, they're just so generous. It's really easy to collect everything, and that makes it hard for them to make money, which is why the game is probably trending down. If you don't make money, it's also harder to make more content. So.
okay, so that's a nice view of where the future might be going.
Yeah.
So maybe also a call to like the gamers of Legends of Runeterra, like support the game more, or
Yeah, I mean,
is it possible to support the game in a way?
yeah, you can spend money. Like there are skins, you can even buy cards, but it's like, why would you? If you already have everything for free, it's like they're giving the people what they want, but because of that, they can't thrive. They can't really build the game they want to, because they're not making money. So the game has done a lot of good. Like League of Legends is one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game in the entire world. And they make a lot of money off of that, and because of that money, they get to make more stuff for that game. But Runeterra is also very, very good, but it's a lost leader. They don't really make money; they lose it, even though it's huge for like expanding the world. Like your favorite character that you have in League of Legends, you're playing that character, but it's like it's you playing that character and using abilities. You're like fighting with it. You don't really care about the backstory, who that character is, who they was. And Runeterra expands on that. It's not just a card game you're playing, it's also like the universe they're building. And I think that's really beautiful. So Runeterra is like important to fleshing out League of Legends almost. But they can't make money off of it. So it's rough.
And what do you like about card games in general before you met your love, Legends of Runeterra?
The beauty of card games is building synergies. You can have a really... Okay, I'm going to give the simplest example, right? Because cards are straightforward. Let's say you have a spell, and that spell says, deal 1 damage twice. That's 2 damage, right? Now imagine having a card that says, your spells deal 1 more damage. If you had a spell that says, do 1 damage, it would be 2. But because that spell already says, deal 1 damage twice, it now says, deal 2 damage, and then 2 damage again.
Yeah.
So you're building synergies. You could also have like, instead of dealing 1 damage twice, you deal 1 damage 3 times. And then you add on top of that plus 1 damage. So instead of doing 2 damage normally, with 2 extra cards, you're now dealing 6 damage. So it's like, it's building synergies and making one card shine. A really good example in Legends of Runeterra, for example, is a card called Victor. It's my favorite card, so I'm going to use him as an example. What Victor's really good with is creating cards that didn't start in your deck. So you build a deck with 40 cards, but Victor is like a robot. So he powers himself up by creating cards. He gives himself like extra attack and stuff. So you're building a deck with a purpose. It's like, okay, I need to make a card or make a deck with cards that make more cards. And then you can like expand on that idea in so many different ways. Maybe you want to create like little cats or something that you're generating. Maybe you want to generate like more spells. Maybe you want to generate healing cards. And then it's like you can go in so many different directions because of one single card that is powerful if you build it right. And that's what card games are all about. Just synergies and making cards shine in unique ways. It's really satisfying.
I was thinking of other games we've played, like making your character shine, right? I didn't think about card games in this way, so I like the fact you explain it like that. And I was also thinking about the card games. Oh, it's so inspiring. So I forget to ask some things. Because this video feels like how Snnuy was born in some kind of way. So what does Snnuy like about Legends of Runeterra specifically?
I played a lot of League of Legends before Runeterra came out. I played a lot of Hearthstone, which is another card game. And then they made a card game for League of Legends. So I got to play one of my favorite games, like Hearthstone as a card game, in the universe that I really care deeply about. I already played League of Legends for like 10 years. So being able to play my favorite champions in a way that wasn't just you're fighting with them or you're using abilities, but instead they get a backstory and they get to shine and like in different ways. For example, there's like this dragon, Aurelian Soul, in League of Legends. He's pretty well known. He's like a space dragon, so he like shoots like a celestial fire breath, and he like flies around. He has like stars orbiting him, and when you play him in game, that's cool. But he doesn't really feel big. He doesn't really feel like this ginormous space dragon that like literally creates stuff in space. That fantasy isn't there when you play him in League of Legends. And that's fine. But in Legends of Runeterra, he has 10 mana, which is like the most expensive card. When you drop him on the field, he creates like a really powerful big card. He creates like a giant like other space dragon that helps him fight. And then when he levels up, which, you know, all champions have different abilities or like different conditions to level up. When he levels up, they cost 0. So you literally like build an entire space army on your side of the field, and he just wins the game for you. He literally overwhelms your opponent with like this giant army, and then he has like his backstory with his other cards that help him. And it's like everything just ties together in this character and what they're supposed to be. And you don't get to see that in League of Legends. So being able to expand on the lore, the universe, and just being able to see that different aspect of them, that different side of them, is beautiful to me. And yeah, it made me fall in love with the game instantly.
It feels like because I remember you were also like looking at the stories and the lore, like you're trying to figure out what's the shining light in that character. Yeah. And with the cards, you can also like enhance. Like it's always like in your life about enhancing a person, like powering them up, and then in the card games it seems to come together all at once. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about building cards and letting them shine, making them do the thing that they're supposed to do, having them have it playing like one card and flipping that switch is like, hey, now you're really powerful. Now you get to do your thing, and you can do it however you want it, and it's gonna go well.
We were speaking about Robin's name, and then some people calling him Robin Hood, which is the story of the person that steals from the rich, gives to the poor. But when I was thinking about like the card that has like deals 1 damage twice, but then there's another card that enhances it to do it like 4 times. It seems like you're again like looking at the ways to steal from the like the rich and give it to the poor cards.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, you have these poor weak cards, and then by stealing cards or adding them to your deck, you're making them more powerful. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Amazing. I think we have a short version that we told we would be speaking 15 minutes like to each other before we started recording, but it turned out to be around like 30 minutes.
Just yapping.
So the
Yappers.
So the ladies are waiting together. We're going to watch the movie Robin Hood.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. And to the viewer, I would like to thank you a lot. Also for my Dutch viewers, if you have any questions or would like to check his channel, it's Snnuy. I will put it in the description below. Do you have to say anything to your viewers?
Dankjewel. Oh, that's your viewers. No, I know I like card games. So if you also like card games, I'm your guy.
And a special message to the people that are subscribed to Snnuy.
Keep playing the bad cards for me. Thank you.